Welcome back to the Wake Up Property series on the Waking Up From Work podcast YouTube channel. This is where we cover the renovation of the farmhouse property that we bought to turn it into a recording studio, artist living space, Airbnb, and our place to live too. If you've been tuning into this channel or you're new here, what you see on this channel right now is renovation, behind the scenes of a home business startup, building a recording studio, and all different things that go in between all that.
On today's episode, we are just updating you guys on some big improvements that have been made. So we had to hire out to install a bunch of doors and windows for both adhering to code, aesthetics, and just we had a bunch of rotten doors and some broken windows in the house. So we just went ahead and hired a window and door company to come and just take care of all of those problems for us. So in this video, we're going over all of the decisions that were made in the process to get to where we are now, and we are so happy with the end result. That's what you're going to be seeing in today's episode, is just a walkthrough of some updates that we had done.
And some of the things that we ran into that you might run into if you're turning a normal house into a split, into a duplex.
All right, so if you like what you're seeing, if you like the content that we're putting out, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, smash the like, drop us a comment. You know all the things to do. Really helps us get our videos out there so that way more people can be entertained by our struggle. We put out videos every other Friday, so make sure you hit that bell so that way you are notified when we do put them out, because it is not a typical schedule.
Let's get ready to hustle. So today we're gonna show you more demo, running through things on the project here. We had a really small closet before, like most old houses. So what we had before, you can see the framing down here of what it used to be, really wasn't the size of a typical closet. What we're gonna move it to is, that's your typical 24 space for framing. We're trying to, because we have to move the door that we're adding in for fire code to separate these two units. Because we have to put in a new door anyway, and the door is bigger than what we have framed out for this small little custom door that was made from whenever, we're taking the opportunity to move the door, reframe, and then add a typical size closet in to this spot while we're doing that as well. The reason why it makes sense for us to go from a non-typical size closet that they had fit into the space that they had at that time to a more typical closet size, because the hangers were not actually even positioned properly to be able to use the closet for any typical hanger size. They're all slanted, hard to get to, made it really non-functional really in any way. So this is solving that problem while we're hitting our fire code of putting in that 60-minute fire rated door to separate the two units, the apartment from the farmhouse, with this hallway. Now initially, we wouldn't have had that as an option, because before we took down any of this wall up above this entryway to the laundry room, we thought that this logistically would be structural, which makes sense to support these floor joists because they're really long that way. They should have a support. When we open this up, we realized that they actually provided no support at all. So there's no reasoning for this past them using it as something, you know, you have these right here, they're just maybe supporting a floorboard from not creaking, but we're doing nothing right now to help the floor joists. So now opening this up, we saw that there's no need for this to be right here. If you take a look at the plumbing that was added for the apartment where we're changing the bedroom over to a bathroom, we already knew that we were gonna add some type of soffit here anyway. So between all of that, seeing how we wanted to make the closet more functional by moving the door, adding in that fire rated door, adding in this plumbing that would need to be hidden in some way, and this not being structural, today we're going to be taking this whole piece out of there, taking out a little bit of that wall so we can reframe that way and do all those changes, and then instead of doing a full soffit past where this would be at, we're going to just go ahead and take this whole thing and most likely move it around here and make that column entering the room a little bit wider, a a little bit more natural, and then definitely structural with something that actually is going to support these floor joists in the room for bending and warping. So a lot's being accomplished from these changes.
Alright, am I clear of like wires?
I mean, you could keep a little try.
You bring your gods, I'll bring mine. And we'll have a problem right now. Who's really just a waste of time? No more holy wars ending life. In the name of every god above us, trust and blood. Let's have a war. Let's have a war. Baby, 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 this is what you were born for. Let's have a war. Let's have a war. Baby, 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 this is what you were born for. You say your prayers, I say mine. Only focus on the difference, not how we're like. Purgatory, purgatory, someone got so lost. No more killing in the name of God and use the faith as a bomb. Let's have a war. Let's have a war. Baby, 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 this is what you were born.
Lose yourself to dance. Lose yourself to dance.
When did people do the robot?
I don't know.
That's the same time period, 70s, 80s, people are just on LSD and that happened?
Or is it just us making fun of it and like it never was a thing?
It never mattered to anyone?
Yeah, like it was a joke and we just thought it was real and it was not the joke.
Oh, this is like...
Yep.
Let's have a war. Let's have a war. Baby, 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 this is what you were born for. War. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, may God kill all the people that I hate the most. God can create, but we can destroy. God can create, but we can destroy.
Alright, so as you see, we've decided to upgrade and put up a piece of plywood instead of a door. And just leave it like this forever. Not really. So this door that was here was completely rotten on the bottom, and mouse have chewed through the bottom, so it was just a giant hole into the house. So we had to replace it. So now we're putting in a new full light door to access our back deck, so that way it's completely sealed off from the elements, because that's an upgrade for us. So if you remember, the window that was above this kitchen sink was that ugly little octagon thing that they installed wrong, so you couldn't actually open. So now we have upgraded it to this much larger window, which we weren't expecting it to be this big. But it'll come right down to pretty much the countertops, and the sink will be right here, and we actually have like a sufficient above sink window, which is fantastic. And once again, because of code, we needed another egress. So we had to put in a front door. So we got this nice Craftsman from Lowe's, and it's got a little bit more light in it too. So now we've got even more natural light in this main floor space of the apartment. So we also wanted to replace these 3 little windows up top because those were all original single pane glass and were absolutely beautiful, but the worst for energy. And since we're gonna try and heat this place primarily with a propane fireplace, we need to get this as airtight as possible to reduce our energy costs. So we sadly had to replace the old windows, but these look pretty cute up there if you ask me. Two that we can't reach are picture windows, so we can't open them, but the one that's up on the loft we are able to open so we can get a little bit of a draft when it comes spring and summertime. So in the bathroom, we had to replace the windows with tempered glass so people can't fall through and out onto our roof and then out onto the floor. So this is a nice strong tempered glass so people can't just crash right on through it. The shower wet room area, we put in this nice frosted glass to give some privacy from the neighbors. So then in the bedroom, once again, because of code, we had to put in another egress upstairs. So we had to replace one of the 2 windows with an egress, and they actually have these now where it comes with a grid in the center of it. So that way it looks like a double hung window, so you don't have to replace both with the egress, because the egress is more expensive than a typical double hung. So then we also replaced the other double hung so it was the same size, because our old ones were slightly smaller. So now these look the same with the exception of the opening. Finally, the last thing we did is this little itty bitty tiny ridiculous window had the seal kind of coming out of it, so it looked terrible. So we replaced this little tiny thing with another little tiny thing, and it's the most useless but adorable window I've ever seen in my life. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching that. If you stuck around this long, clearly you like something about us, so you might as well go down and hit that subscribe so you can see some more of the content we put out. As always, hit the like, the bell, and drop us a comment down below.
In the comments down below, let us know, have you ever added a door or window into a part of your house that never was made to be an entrance? Also in the comments down below, let us know what are some of the things that you've had to do to meet fire codes when you've been renovating things, if you've ever been in that position. Let us know, we'd like to hear about it. If you're enjoying the YouTube channel but you want to go more into a podcast format or deeper dive into some other artists, entrepreneurs, and creatives out there, weekly you can hear the Waking Up From Work podcast. Go to wakingupfromwork.com or any podcast platform and look that up. You can hear me chat even longer on interviews with different people who are pursuing their creative passions. If you want to keep up with us on the daily, at Dave Wake Up on Instagram, TikTok, and everything like that, you can come hang out with us in the podcast and keep up to date with what we're doing in the project and how life's going. When this video launches, right now we are actually in Hawaii on the first vacation that we've taken in 4 years, because it wasn't the smartest thing for budget, it wasn't the best thing for time, it wasn't the best thing for anything except for us, because we have been so brutally drained from this project that we needed to go completely reset so we could come back and finish this project. So I'm sure in some video ahead we will show you some of that trip, but thank you guys for watching. Drop us a comment, we'll get back to you whenever we're off the beach.
And if we look like a couple of lobsters, that's why, because we're definitely not gonna tan with our pasty white Maine skin, we're gonna fry like some motherfuckers.
Correct. Thank you guys.
Catch you on the next one. Stop.
You probably did that. We're doing stupid dance moves like this.
Socks. I actually really liked wearing those in the fall and winter. It's really unfortunate. Alright.